We didn't know that all of this was a shitstorm building up.
I'm really upset.
I don't give a fuck what you own. That is irrelevant.
I wanted to help you, and that's why I'm so upset.
Don't tell me how fucking rich you are.
Welcome everyone to a new episode of Leveraging Real Estate for Freedom. This is where we teach you how to build your own real estate empire. Long story short, we bought the property. We were told that, hey, there's going to be some issues that you need to address, specifically, utility line issues. We deal with this problem all day long. So we said, okay, if there's issues, we have contractors that can deal with it. All we need to do is to get the plans from you, right? Couldn't get the plans. There's no plans apparently. And we found out that the previous owner subdivided the property, but they didn't do it the correct way, which means that utility lines are still adjoint with the neighboring property. So our line is tied to the neighboring property's utility line, which means that the neighboring property have direct control of what's going on. And also all the utility bills are being sent to the neighboring owner. Over the weekend, neighboring owner decides to shut off the utility, water specifically, to my property. Keep in mind, this property that we just purchased, there's 5 units on top, and few of the units are occupied by older residents who have health problems. I contact Michael, who is my realtor on this, and also the property manager. I say, Michael, go find out who did this. And next, what is the resolution here, right? And so that's why I found out who Brian is, the neighboring landlord. And subsequently, I was informed that Brian wouldn't budge and that he was blackmailing us essentially for money. I try to be very even keel and emotionally stable 99.9% of the time. But when I heard neighboring landlord is trying to blackmail us for money to turn on the water, which my tenant needs, and they have health problems, that really upset me. Once I heard that, I requested that for all of us to get on the call together because this is becoming a pretty big problem. And I want to get on the call to see if I can help mitigate the situation and smooth out the problem. Listen to the call and see how it went. Hey, thanks for getting on the call, Brian. Thanks for standing up, Mike. So I just want to clarify some things real quick. You're the owner of the property next door, correct?
Yes, sir.
So right now you're being billed for work that this piping company did.
Yes.
And the work is for both your property and my property.
Yes.
There's some temporary repiping work done because the property was split between your property and mine. I understand that. And when you do a lot split, there's supposed to be a separation of utility lines, which we're talking about water lines specifically right now.
Correct.
And so the question is, why is this piping company billing you for what they should be billing us?
Okay. From what I understand, the company, the plumbing company, has been unable to recuperate funds from the current owner, which is you.
So now they are billing you because they couldn't get a hold of us?
Well, it's not so much that they're billing me, it's that they're unwilling to work with you any longer.
Right. So why is that your problem?
It's your problem, not my problem.
Right. And so why did you shut off the water if it's a billing issue between me and the other company?
The reason why I shut off the water to your property is because I've been trying to get this problem resolved for the past 5 months. And over the past 5 months, the previous owner and the current owner have failed to perform on requests.
Okay.
We have informed the previous owner and we have informed the current owner that we are in the process of doing a repipe because our current plumbing is really bad. And in order to do our repipe, we have to shut off the water to your property. If that's the only way we can do our repipe. From what I understand, the plumber has been trying to speak with the current owner and he has been getting the runaround. Do you know what runaround means?
Okay, let me clarify something. We haven't owned the property for that long. I've been trying to get the plans so we can resolve the piping issue since day one that we closed on the property. So how it usually works is that we're provided a set of plans and then we're able to use our vendors to deal with the problem. So far, nobody has provided us with a set of plans. Do you know why that is?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I'm not going to go to a deal blindly and just get what it feels like to get forced into doing work by some company that have not vetted. And so right now, that's exactly what's happening because nobody's providing us with a set of plans for us to get bids on. I'm talking about not the piping company, not you, can't get a hold of the seller, not the title company, nobody. So are you currently doing the repiping work? Is that why you shut off the water?
Not only am I currently doing the repiping work, I've been doing this repiping work for the past 6 months. And this job was only supposed to take 3 weeks. And
all right,
because it's taking so long, it's causing so many delays, it's becoming more expensive and I'm tired of it. I want to get this job done.
All right. So look, Brian, your problem's not with us. Okay. Whatever problem you have with the previous owner for the past 4 months, 4.5 months, that's very unfortunate. I'm sorry you have to go through that. You know, I own a lot of property in Sacramento.
Listen,
so
man, I don't give a fuck what you own. That is irrelevant. Don't tell me how fucking rich you are.
I'm not telling you how rich I am. I'm trying to tell
you. So what's
the
point of you telling me you own fucking properties?
That I deal with a lot of problems and fucking assholes like you. Okay? You want to get serious? I'll fucking sue you. I don't destroy you, piece of shit.
Bring it on, bitch.
Okay? Bring it on, bitch. All right, buddy. You want to solve the problem or you want to get sued? I've been lawyer.
If you want to go that way,
already there.
Let's go that way.
On retainer.
Say that to my face, bitch.
You live there, right? Yeah, maybe I'll come by for a site visit. How do you think about that?
I'll give you my address, bitch.
Give me your address right now.
I don't fucking live there.
But, you know, we're all adults here. I'm trying to tell you that I deal with a lot of problems and I'm trying to find a solution, okay? So we can either come to agreements, find a solution, or we can bitch at each other all day. What do you want to do?
I'm ready to negotiate.
Fantastic. See, I knew we could get on terms. I think this is what we're going to do. Why don't we set up a meeting, bring the plans, bring all of the invoices. Let's meet up with just settle on the spot. Let's figure out a solution. Let's settle it because this is done. How's that sound?
I don't know what you mean by plans.
A utility plans, right? So someone had to draw on utility plans.
That was for our property. I don't know if you want to see plans for my property or if you want to see plans for your property.
Did you own your property when the subdivision happened?
What is subdivision?
Hey, Mike, can you clarify the situation?
Essentially, our property was one property. All the units that you have and all the units that we have was essentially one property, right? So yeah, a subdivision pretty much divides the units into 2 parcels. So it's 2 properties now rather than one. That's what a subdivision is. I'm assuming the previous owner that you purchased from did the subdivision. Now with the subdivision, the utilities has to be divided and split. They didn't do that. So now we're dealing with it and now we're doing the repiping on both units, okay?
Correct. I bought the property about a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it was like this.
Okay.
Mike, the subdivision happened over a year ago?
I'm assuming, yeah.
I would imagine that
Mike?
The subdivision happened a while ago, at least before I bought it.
How have you, Brian, been dealing with the previous owner before me?
About the utilities.
Like, you guys just been splitting utilities and splitting costs?
To be honest with you, before you bought the property, I was paying all of the water bill and the sewer bill. And after a few months of owning the property, I noticed that the bill was high. So I contacted the city to investigate. And that's when they told me there was a problem. And then after that, my tenants had problems with their plumbing. They weren't getting water and they were getting backups in their sewer. So that's when I had to hire a repiping company to repipe everything. When they said I needed a full repipe, that's when I went into contract with them. And that was about 6 months ago. And they said that I have to separate services from my property and your property, and we have to go our separate ways. And I've been trying to tell that to the old owner since that day happened, and I haven't been able to get into touch with the new owner. And my plumber right now, he is expressing frustration at being able to communicate with the new ownership. So that's why we're just frustrated and we're done with it. We're just saying, fuck it. We're just closing it. We're severing it right now.
This is even more of an issue than I anticipated because in order to get a proper subdivision done, the utility lines were supposed to split before they approved the subdivision. So in my mind, someone had a set of plans, but they just never provided to us. So from what you're saying, nobody ever gotten a set of plans and you actually purchased the property from the original owner who subdivided the property without separating utilities and that you were also paying for the utilities for the other property. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
On top of that, that, it also sounds like to me that the previous owner who you purchased from never disclosed these items to you, which in my opinion is unethical and wrong. You may have damages against them.
Correct. Sounds like a high probability, and it doesn't sound like you're that much of an asshole anymore. So, all right, what do we need to resolve this issue? Because, you know, it's a problem for both of us. We want to obviously have a property that's properly subdivided with separate utilities. Can we set up a meeting with you and the plumber? With you and your plumber and whoever else is involved? Let's just all sit down and let's figure out a solution like right away.
Issue for today that needs to be resolved is how do we get water to our tenants?
Have you already split the pipe?
Yes. So
yes,
their pipe is already complete from my understanding. The only thing is we are still tied to their water line with temporary water, right? So we have temporary piping that's still linked to his water lines. So he's still paying for our water for our tenants. As of right now, it's shut off. We need that turned on. What do we need to do in order to get that turned back on? Do we need to pay the water bill for you, Brian? Or because essentially our tenants need water.
You know, it's not about the water bill. It's about my plumber and his costs doing all this work for you guys and not getting any response. Let me call him and ask him what he wants, and I can call you back.
Okay, so why don't we turn the water back on, and then we're going to set up a meeting with this guy subsequently on Tuesday. And
Well, I can't agree to that until I talk to him, because he's done a lot of work for your property and hasn't gotten anywhere. And on top of that, I'm feeling damages for doing all of this and dragging this on and not getting anywhere from you and the previous owner. And I'm not saying that's all your fault, but at the end of the day, you're the owner, so the buck stops with you.
So do you understand where our issue was? That we were anticipating a set of plans that never existed, that you didn't get, that the previous owner didn't get, that I didn't get. So in my mind, this set of plans has always existed because that's how it's supposed to work when you subdivide a property.
Yeah, and to me, that doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change the calculus.
Well, it matters because I'm assuming that someone was holding out on us, but now there's no such a thing. So we have to figure out a brand new solution to this issue, whether or not that's utilizing your plumber or our own plumbers or coming up with a new set of plans.
What confuses me and what bothers me personally is why it's taken so long for me to speak with you. It takes the water getting shut off for you to contact me. That's what bothers me.
Well, no, that's not the case because we never had your contact in the first place. I was trying to get a hold of the owners. I was trying to get a hold of set of plans. I was trying to get a hold of the plans from the plumber. Nobody had an answer.
Listen, you closed on this property, what, 2-3 months ago?
A month ago?
1 month ago. Okay, you've closed on this property 1 month ago, and the previous seller told you there's a plumbing problem that you need to contact the adjacent owner, correct?
Mike, was that the case?
They never said that we had to contact you. They said
so it's a yes or no. Just say no then.
They said there was a city issue, but they said it was very minor. They didn't give us any plans. They didn't give us the cost of it. They never gave us, pretty much they never gave us anything.
This is total bullshit because I've been in contact with the previous owner telling him about this for the past 6 months, and I'm tired of it.
They didn't even
so then there's damages. So then there's damages for me to pursue the previous owner. We have established that already. Trying to deal with the previous owner, that this guy or them might not be the most savory person. So
why should you be any different?
Because I'm not the same person. What do you mean?
Why should you be any different?
I'm not the same person.
Pay me $15,000. I'll turn it on. Otherwise, I gotta talk to the plumber and ask him what he wants.
Call the plumber.
What costs $15,000
to turn on the water for you? That
is our expense.
You asked a question. I gave the answer. You don't like the answer?
I don't like the answer. No.
Hey Brian, can you call the plumber?
I don't know what else to say then.
Hey,
I gave you 2 options. You don't like option 1, choose option 2.
Can you call the plumber? Figure out what he wants to turn on the water.
I'd be happy to.
Set up a call on Tuesday.
Text me your number and I'll call you back and I'll tell you what he says. I don't have to wait till Tuesday. I can call you back right away.
Fantastic. All right. Hey, Mike, Brian, if you guys can handle this, that'll be great. I'm heading on the plane. After I get off the plane, Mike, I'll contact you. Cool. Thanks, guys. Now we're going on to the property. I'm fully expecting to see Brian there because he's the one that shut off my water. He's the one that's, threatening me. And I wanted to see what this guy is at the same time to potentially come to a resolution. Right now, we're on our way to this property. We're going to meet with this contractor face to face. We're going to meet with this owner face to face. We're going to have the camera with us. It's going to be rolling the whole time. It's going to be a shot. What's your name?
Yes, I'm the plumber contractor for these units.
However, Brian didn't show up. That doesn't really surprise me. People that talk a lot of trash, usually, they hide behind the internet, they hide behind phone calls. And, I had to deal with the situation with the contractor. And the contractor, he's kind of like the middleman. Were you the contractor for this building as well?
Well, I was give the quote to the last owner, Mark. So I was provide all the information to him. I spent around 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
To figure out what has to be done, because this used to be one parcel.
Okay. You can't just hold somebody's property's water hostage because of some problems he had with the previous owner. I'm not the previous owner. I'm the new owner. I have no idea what's going on.
What you guys have to do is you guys need to have a new water tap for the city. What that means is you guys have to open the street.
I'm aware. Type A contractor, they need to go in.
Yeah.
Okay, so the quote that you give to the old owner, the problem is that he did not give that to us when we bought the property, and it is his duty to give to us, which we don't have. Okay, so just clarify that.
Yeah,
And then you're supposed to disclose that on the TDS and the seller disclosure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so he fucked up already. All right, so we don't have that. And then you sent it to us. So when you sent it to us, we didn't know what that was.
The whole situation was very annoying and frustrating, and it could have been prevented if the previous owner that sold us the property was more elaborate of what the situation was.
I was forced to pay you and Brian.
If I advise you in over 5 weeks and you didn't do anything, that means you are wasting my time, his time, and our work, because you're not doing anything in order to take care of this. I spent over 2 weeks trying to speak with him. I provide my number. Nobody give me a call, nobody do anything.
Did anybody give you his number?
No, not until he started work. And that's when the water was gonna get shut off. It was post a notice on the tenants' doors saying that they're gonna turn off the water, and the tenants reached out to me as soon as the water shut off, and that's how I got their number. The tenant actually went over next door, grabbed the contractor's phone number, told me what the number was, so that way that day I reached out to him. He's saying that he was reaching out to me for multiple weeks, and I didn't get those phone calls, I didn't get the emails. He may have sent it over to the previous owner. The previous owner did not give me his contact information.
If you post a letter and the tenants don't forward the information, so he doesn't know.
I agree with
right?
him. I agree on that point. I wanted to help you, and that's why I'm so upset, because I put myself in the middle to try to help your tenants, to try to help him, to try to help you, so that way we don't have any big concerns, any big issues. The time passed. I have all these properties with the walls open, trenching everywhere. Nobody showed up.
There's 2 major points of disconnects, okay? So number 1, the seller didn't communicate this to us. When we found out the issue, we were expecting that there's a more palatable solution. Like, we were expecting plans. Like, that's what we're used to, right? If we're like expecting plans from the seller, we're expecting plans from somebody. Nobody had plans. When you have dealt with the seller for so long, and then now you're dealing with us, we're new people.
I know.
All right. So in a month time, we didn't expect the water to get shut off, and it did. I don't think my problem's with you.
No, me either. And
my problem's with the fact that the water was abruptly shut off, and the seller didn't communicate the problem to us. We didn't know that all of this was a shitstorm building up. Okay.
Hey buddy, hello.
I didn't know personally.
Well, you know.
Now I know. Now I know.
You didn't know.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
But somebody from your team knew it this long time ago.
I don't think they understood the severity of the situation, nor did they understand the communication between you and seller.
I felt like he was very aggressive. He didn't know what he was talking about, and he was just speaking off of emotions from the previous owner, the frustration that he had, and he was just taking it out on us,
Talking with the contractor, it wasn't really confronting the contractor. I don't really like confrontation. If you know me, I'm a very easy, peaceful guy. Here's the thing though. Every time I am provoked, I am forced to deal with the situation. And I tend to deal with the situation on par with the energy that I receive. So I wasn't confronting the contractor because he has nothing to do with it. I'm just there to find a solution.
Nan is a very reasonable guy. All he wants is the problem to be solved, and any way he needs to get it done, he'll get it done. After a while, when everything settled down, we got an understanding where he was coming from, and we were able to communicate in a better way. And he's just very frustrated of the previous owner.
We can work together, we can set up a plan, we can figure out a way, but I really need to move forward with the sewer.
We work together.
I say all the time.
And as soon as I talk to him, I go with you, and this is the plan. Plan A and
Fantastic.
Plan B.
Okay, cool. You guys handle it. Well, thank you for your time. I'm out. Nice meeting you in person, and I'm glad this is going, somewhere. And
take care.
Talk to you soon. Contractor, he's kind of like the middleman, he's just there doing his job. And so once I found out Brian was in there and he sent his contractors, I'm hands off at this point. I assigned one of my workers to be the project manager on this deal so I don't have to deal with it. And my action plan is to pay whatever money they want me to pay, do whatever I need to do to turn the water back on. And I'm gonna come in the back end and deal with the situation however I see fit.
Nan handled it the way Nan handles things. Nan solves problems, right? On a day-to-day basis, he solves problems.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned. All right, number one, we did our due diligence and we still came short. I mean, that's why the seller is actually getting sued as we speak, by the way. As a seller, you need to fully disclose what is happening. Don't think that you can get over on people, because you're going to run into somebody like me and you're going to have to deal with me. I can tell you it's not going to be fun for you. On the buyer side, you really have to do your due diligence, but sometimes you are going to run into problems like this. I have to prepare these new investors. I'm like, hey, don't get into larger deals until you're ready to handle some problems, right? Start with investing in your own home, maybe a second home, slowly build up to maybe a duplex, triplex, fourplex. Go about that like slowly. Make sure you have the ability to handle these problems. Honestly, if I was a mom and pop shop, like really small operator, and this problem came about, it costed us, I think, over $100,000 cash right there and then to have to deal with the problem. Imagine if you didn't have that money, what would you do? We looked at a lot of the other options, and really we only had one option. Pay the money, handle the problem, and then deal with the situation on the back end, right? So lesson as a seller, make sure you fully disclose everything you know. Lesson from the buyer side, make sure that you have the ability to handle problems and, expect things to happen. With real estate, there's always something happening with these real estate transactions. Out of 10 transactions that I have, smooth transaction, maybe majority of them, but there's also 1, 2, 3 properties that will have problems. It's very rare. This is probably the biggest issue that I have ran into, where it's just out of the blue and I needed that money that day, right? So it's pretty rare, but it can happen. Current status of the property, everything is done. We ran new lines, we have new utility lines, new water lines, everything, right? So the property is fully functional and the property is in the condition that it was supposed to be when I bought it. So that's the condition of the property. Now I'm actively pursuing the seller in litigation. You have to be very strategic when you're dealing with large sums of money, and you have to be very strategic when you're handling lawsuits. And for us right now, first step, deal with the seller, make him eat his own shit, right? Second step, I'm going to strategize to see how I want to handle the neighboring landlord. This property, I actually really like the property. It's on a big lot. It has a lot of different spaces, units. We're currently getting permits for additions, ADUs, new construction. So there's a lot going on with this property, and there's a lot of upside. So I don't regret buying the property. It's just that I have to deal with these headaches. It's unfortunate, but you know what? It's part of the game. It comes with the territory. You can't expect to own tens of millions of assets and not have any problems like this. You're going to run into issues like this as your portfolio grows. Hopefully you learn a lesson from this, but just know that as your portfolio grows, so are your problems, all right? There's a saying, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you turn on that notification button and watch our new episodes. All right, see you guys next time.